So Dahlia, you asked some very good questions in terms of my book and how I got where I am today. So I was 21 years in the investment world, working my way up from customer services to board director and head of sales and marketing of one of the biggest UK fund managers, and then was brought across in 2015 to head up sales and marketing and PR for Davy Asset Management. And Davy would be the biggest stockbroker in Ireland as well. Predominantly came back actually because I had a father-in-law at the time who had cancer and kidney failure. So I came back to look after him. And he actually survived for another 8 years. And my kids actually spoke at his funeral, which was beautiful as well. So in terms of, though, when I was back here, I literally came back on the year where I'd sold over £1 billion worth of business to Media Lanham, to Pioneer, which became Amundi, and Davy themselves. So I was pretty well known, and the asset management world over here in Dublin is very small. So based on that, everybody knew about this, and I got into the newspapers. If you look in the Independent there, I was called a heavy city hitter, and then also compared to a Manchester United football star in the Times as well, newspaper. So that kind of helped in terms of first having a bit of a presence in terms of the industry. Then my LinkedIn started building up pretty rapidly as I became head of sales over here with a lot of people over there. And then within 2.5 years, I started speaking on stage as a head of sales. So talking about selling, about building your business up, because I'd grown a business in terms of the asset management world over in the UK from 50 million per annum sales to 1.75 billion. And it's all documented. It was all easy to follow and see and everything like that. So based on that, I was talking about how to build a business, how to manage a business, how to lead a business and everything. And I got to speak on stage. I got paid to speak in 2017. And that was the first time I started speaking. I then spoke at Fit CEO, which I think 100 different top CEOs came along. It was workshop style, and I was one of the main speakers there as well. And then by the end of 2017, I was offered a radio show, and the radio show was called Inspirational People, Inspirational Stories, where I actually interviewed people like John DeMartini and Lisa Nichols and Jack Canfield, who were all in the Secret film. Les Brown I interviewed, Sharon Lecter, who's the co-writer at Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and many sports stars like Stuart Lancaster, who's the Leinster coach, Jamie Heaslip, who was the captain of Ireland and Leinster as well. So I was pretty well known and did the radio show for 5 years. I've now been offered a podcast, which is sponsored by Together Magazine. And I've written in Together Magazine. I've done, I think, about 5 or 6 articles as a contributing journalist and writer as well. And I've spoken on stage all around the world. I've spoken over in America, in the Middle East, all over Europe. And due to that, I've got known. So also when the pandemic happened, obviously a lot of you will know, you might know Clubhouse. So Clubhouse is an audio app, and during the pandemic, literally all the speakers around the world went on there. So there's Grant Cardone was on there, Les Brown was on there. I was on stage with all these guys, made friends with these guys. And I ended up building up quite a big following in terms of people on there. At one stage, had about 20,000 followers. So based on that, I was actually offered 4 publishing deals because I told them I was writing this book. I got 4 different publishing deals come through. I looked at them and I went for Beyond Publishing over in the States because they had good distribution. So Beyond Publishing is my publisher. I managed to get the book, Beyond Publishing got the book into Waterstones, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, and then many other shops right in Hodges and Fidges over here, many other shops around the world, in Taiwan, in Australia, obviously the UK, Ireland, America, and everywhere. So it really came down to 1, having a radio show, 2, having had a track record, because there's so many coaches out there that maybe have done nothing. They may have worked as a sales exec rather than actually head of sales and board director, or they may have, even worked in a pub and got the ICF, the International Coaching Federation thing. And then through then they become a coach. And there are hundreds and thousands of coaches out there that have done nothing beforehand. Even in certain areas, you will meet coaches who before they were a coach, they didn't really do anything else. Now, Robert is an amazing guy. He's an amazing presenter and unique in what he does. But if you have a look, he was basically a pizza delivery guy beforehand. So it's very much about what have you done beforehand? How can you add value to people in some way or form? Have you actually worked as a leader, as a manager in a big organization? I worked at Fidelity, who are worldwide, Lazard worldwide, HSBC worldwide, Columbia Threadneedle runs 600 billion, and obviously Davy's the biggest in Ireland as well. So by having that background, then you got something to add value to people. So as coaches out there, think to yourself, what do I have that differentiates me in some way or form? Is there some kind of mess that I can turn into a message to help other people? Or is there some skill set that I've learned over time to be able to help others in some way or form? Let's face it, there was a great story about Picasso, and he died in 1976. And Picasso was sitting in a bar, I think it was in the early 70s, and a lady came up to him and said, "Picasso, I'm such a fan. Will you draw a portrait of me?" And he painted this portrait, gave it to her in about less than an hour or half an hour or whatever, and charged her the equivalent of, whatever in lira, but the equivalent today of 20,000 euros. And she said, 20,000 euros for a painting that only took you half an hour? And he said, no. That's 20,000 euros for 25 years of experience to be able to do that in a half an hour. And I think that's so important, is that when you choose a coach, especially anybody here, have a look on LinkedIn. See how many LinkedIn recommendations they actually have, because LinkedIn tends to be the most authentic social media site. You can buy followers on Instagram. You can buy views on Instagram. You can buy comments on Instagram. Whereas if you go on to, and you can do that on Facebook as well, very easy. It's much harder on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, they're real people that you can go on and check these people out, contact the people and ask them, did you work with Doug Gordon, or did you work with Caro, or whoever, and understand, what is the added value that they gave. And let's say you can have a look at mine, on my LinkedIn, you can see that I've worked with some amazing people. The CIO of Dell, the head of sales of Dell, the CDO as in the chief data officer at Aer Lingus, the CEO of Okuko, Stuart Lancaster, the Leinster coach, many other people in terms of coaching them as well. So get the credentials beforehand, and then you'll find the publishers and coaching clients will come to you as well. That's key. And if I can help any of you, I'd be delighted to. And actually, I've got something coming up on the 21st of March. I'm going to be doing a relationship mastery course alongside Gosha Wojciechowicz, which actually Caro went to one of Gosha's workshops, and she said she loved it. So if you want to come along, we're going to be talking about relationship mastery, and that's not just in your own personal love relationships. It's also in your work and your life as well, which is very important. Let's face it, relationships are key in terms of clients, in terms of your staff, and obviously in terms of love as well. Anything I can help, let me know. I hope that helps, Darry. Take care.